Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Mark Bain, Chair of the Canadian Council for Public-Private Partnerships and partner with Torys, LLP.
Good morning, all. Welcome to the 27th Annual Conference of the Canadian Council for Public-Private Partnerships. Great to be back here with you again this year, and I hope you're ready for the next 2 days. We'll have a lot going on. Together, we'll be celebrating the best of our market, teams that are pushing the boundaries of what P3s are and can be. We've been using this approach in Canada for almost 30 years now, and it's amazing to see that you can still find new and better way of delivering projects. We're also here to candidly discuss the challenges and opportunities on the horizon for designing, building, financing, operating, and maintaining public infrastructure across Canada and around the world. There's a lot to discuss. I'm sure you'll agree. More on that shortly. Let me begin by acknowledging the land on which we gather today as part of the treaty lands and territory of the Mississaugas of the New Credit. It's been a year full of change since we last gathered in this room. We've had a federal election and a change of government in several provinces and territories. Notably, in Alberta, the Premier has identified investing in infrastructure as one of his highest priorities and has further stated that P3s will play a central role. Alberta's plans will be laid out in their market sounding later today, and I should add we have another 8 market soundings in the program, putting the spotlight on new projects coming to market in Canada, the US, and Asia. We're also seeing several of the major P3 players pulling back from the market, although at the same time others are entering it. I know many of you have been watching this news closely, and this theme will feature in a number of the general sessions and breakouts today and tomorrow. We've had some great milestones this year. In Canada, transit projects have been big news. The City of Ottawa and Waterloo region have both opened their first LRTs, and planning is underway on others across the country. The new Champlain Bridge has opened in Montreal. Shovels are also on the ground on the Canada-US border for the Gordie Howe International Bridge. The $1.88 billion Regina Bypass is officially open. It's the largest transportation infrastructure project in Saskatchewan's history and its single largest job creator. On the East Coast, Newfoundland and Labrador has awarded the $750 million contract for the Corner Brook Hospital, and the province is back again this year with a market sounding on its new correctional facility project. In Canada's north, construction has started on the Clecho All-Season Road. The team behind that project will be one of 5 honored today at lunch with the Canadian Council's National Awards for Innovation and Excellence in P3s. Here in Ontario, the province has announced a number of new and welcome initiatives, announcing for the first time that they'll be accepting unsolicited bids for infrastructure projects. And plans are now in place to export Infrastructure Ontario's globally recognized best-in-class P3 model to the world. We're also set to embark on Ontario's and Canada's largest ever investment in transit infrastructure. We'll be hearing more about that $28.5 billion program tomorrow when Premier Doug Ford and Infrastructure Minister Laurie Scott join us for a keynote speech. With all the change happening, it's even more important that we get together and continue to learn from each other, sharing experiences and lessons learned from projects. The Canadian Council is at the forefront of this activity, bringing together all levels of government, Indigenous communities, and the private sector to have constructive face-to-face discussions, to talk about what's working and where improvements are necessary. That discussion and collaboration is critical. It's the only way we can move forward to enable smart, innovative, and sustainable approaches to developing and maintaining public infrastructure that creates jobs, strengthens communities, and fosters a better way of living for all Canadians. So thank you again for joining us over the next 2 days. Now my pleasure to introduce the Council's Honorary Chair, John Manley.
Thank you very much, Mark. The emphasis in that introduction is on the word honorary. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to be here with you all again this year. La conversation s'annonce très intéressante. The next few months should prove very interesting for the infrastructure sector. We're all eager to hear about the infrastructure priorities of the newly elected federal government, and of course, On Wednesday, we'll officially find out who the next federal Minister of Infrastructure will be. Having once been in those shoes, I know that it's a challenging but also a very exciting job. It's a unique position where you get to see your decisions actually come to life before your eyes. Believe me, that doesn't often happen in government. It's also one where needs almost always outstrip the dollars available, and that's why decisions need to be merit-based and ensure the best economic and social returns possible for Canadians. I think politicians of every party and around the world are of the same mind. Chose intéressante, l'infrastructure n'a pas suscité beaucoup d'attention pendant la campagne électorale. Nous savons cependant que les Canadiens se soucient énormément de l'état des routes, des ponts, des écoles, et des hôpitaux. I also believe there's a growing awareness that infrastructure costs money, not just when it's being built, but over time for its operation and maintenance. If you build it, you must maintain it to preserve its value. Yet there remains little desire for the public to pay more for their infrastructure through, be it increased transit fare costs, tolls, or congestion charges. C'est pas seulement au Canada, mais partout ailleurs. Governments around the globe are between a rock and a hard place. Much-needed infrastructure is costly, and public funding is limited. But we need to invest in infrastructure because we know its importance as a job stimulator. It creates jobs, stimulates the economy, fuels productivity, and drives global competitiveness. And these are all crucial priorities for Canada and indeed for all countries. All that to say, we need to bring innovative thinking to the fore, and public-private partnerships are exactly that. Right now in Canada, we have 285 P3 projects from coast to coast to coast and across a wide variety of sectors. Of these, 242 projects are already in operation or under construction, and these are valued at $139.4 billion. Selon un sondage Nanos mené l'an dernier, les Canadiens continuent d'appuyer les partenariats publics-privés pour faire construire l'infrastructure publique en temps opportun et dans les limites des budgets fixés. More countries are entering into P3s, and many of them come to Canada to learn about our globally respected P3 model. In fact, we have a number of international delegates here with us today, and a special welcome to all of you. We also need to be mindful that the world is changing. The issues we're confronting today are new ones and serious ones. Climate change and cybersecurity are two that immediately come to mind. They present real challenges for future-proofing infrastructure. We can't build for the future with the same mindset of what is rapidly becoming the past. De toute évidence, une autre ligne de conduite s'impose. It's clear that we need to be open to doing something different. According to the Global Infrastructure Hub, there will be an estimated $94 trillion in global infrastructure investment needed in the world by 2040. Le fossé à combler est énorme. It's truly an enormous gap. One might say it's even an insurmountable one. What I know is that we can't stop trying. Je suis d'avis que nous devons persévérer et continuer de mettre en commun nos idées, nos pratiques optimales et des leçons que nous avons apprises. When I look out at all of you, I can see that solutions are possible, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts over the next 2 days. Thank you again, and I hope that you have a very productive 2 days here in Toronto. Merci et passez d'excellents moments à la conférence P3 2019. Merci.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mark Romoff, and I'm President and CEO of the Canadian Council for Public-Private Partnerships. It's a pleasure for me to welcome you to our 27th annual conference here in Toronto over the next couple of days. Mesdames et messieurs, bonjour à tout le monde. C'est un plaisir pour moi de vous souhaiter la bienvenue ici à Toronto à notre conférence, notre 27e conférence du Conseil canadien des partenariats publics-privés. At the outset, I want to thank the many of you that have come from, frankly, warmer climates for kindly bringing today's great weather with you. You might not find it all that pleasant yourselves, but quite frankly, for us guys who tend to wear shorts late in November, this is really wonderful weather. So thank you for making that important contribution right off the top. What I will say is, boy, hasn't this past year gone by in a flash. It's hard to believe that's how long it's been since most of us were here together in this room for our 26th annual conference. And I'm especially proud of the fact that last year's conference won a Spirit Award from the International Live Events Association. That's pretty significant, and we were recognized for being the top conference in our class. And that's good news, and I think that you'll find that over the course of the next 2 days, we're going to meet that standard and hopefully surpass it. As always, we've organized a program that is sure to be topical and provocative. We want our discussions to break through the noise and push towards new and out-of-the-box solutions to the challenges confronting the infrastructure sector. John mentioned both the fiscal constraints many governments are facing, as well as the reality of global issues like climate change and cybersecurity that are really causing major disruptions. We also can't ignore some of the hottest issues we're facing, whether it's getting the project balance right in projects, or tackling the impact of the shortage in skilled trades, or recruiting and retaining the talent needed to get projects launched and successfully delivered. We also recognize the importance of engaging in more meaningful ways with Indigenous communities to help build the infrastructure they need, as well as on the projects that cross their lands. Those that fully lean into these challenges are creating more resilient, more innovative, and more inclusive infrastructure that will benefit all of us. We'll be hearing from experts from across Canada and around the world who are doing just that. They'll share their lessons and hard-fought-for solutions that I believe show the way forward for others. Our conference is also a valued forum to give our delegates a first-hand look at what's coming in the project pipeline. As Mark mentioned, this year we have 9 market soundings that will provide a timely look at the major new projects on the drawing board in Alberta, Quebec, Newfoundland and Labrador, California, Florida, the Philippines, and Indonesia. Thank you again to our Philippine and Indonesian friends for bringing that lovely weather. You'll need to register in advance for these sessions, so please see our team at the registration desk where you picked up your conference badges this morning, and they'll be happy to help you. You can also keep track of everything happening at this conference with our conference and networking app. This is the one-stop shop for all your conference information needs, from the program to attendees and speakers. You can also use it to ask questions in sessions and arrange meetings in the International Cafe. And if you don't have it already, you can download it from the App Store or Google Play. Just search for P3 2019. A special thanks as well to New Bearing for sponsoring the app. If you don't have it already, as I said, you can download it. Thanks to New Bearing for sponsoring this particular feature of our conference. I'm also hoping that you'll be active on social media. We're curating the best of your content from the conference on our popular Twitter wall, so be sure to use the hashtag P32019 and join in the conversation. Making all of this online activity possible is 407ETR, our sponsor this year for the complimentary Wi-Fi throughout the conference level of the hotel. As we all know also, this conference would not be possible without our sponsors. And this year, I'm particularly proud that we have 50 sponsors supporting the conference financially, contributing panelists, and providing for what I think is very strong programming. A huge thank you to all of those sponsors. And a special shout out to our breakfast sponsor this morning, the Government of the Northwest Territories. As many of you are aware, the Northwest Territories is leading the way with P3 projects in Canada's north. I would also like to take a moment to thank our Board of Directors, the Chair of our Board, Mark Bain, and our Honorary Chair, John Manley, for their support over this past year, and particularly in the lead-up to this year's conference, for their insights and advice, which have been invaluable and frankly hugely appreciated by the team at CCPPP. And finally this morning, I'd like to recognize our conference presenting sponsor, SNC-Lavalin. Thank you again for making this important event possible for all of us. And in recognition of that sponsorship, I'd like to welcome John Wilkinson, SNC-Lavalin's President of Infrastructure, to the stage to say a few words. John, thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bain, Mr. Manley, Mr. Romoff, for those great opening remarks. Dear delegates and distinguished guests coming from all over Canada and the rest of the world, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm pleased to be with you today for the beginning of this 27th Annual Conference on Public-Private Partnerships. I am honoured to participate in this internationally recognised event, during which infrastructure industry leaders and key decision makers will address emerging issues and challenges within the public-private partnership market. Each year, this conference brings about interesting conversations and insights regarding a variety of topics relating to opportunities within the P3 industry. I've taken a look at the schedule this year, and I find the diversity of panels and themes exciting and engaging. This year is shaping up to be a very interesting one for SNC-Lavalin when it comes to exchanges. This is mostly due to our new strategic direction, which you have certainly already heard of. Firstly, we will no longer be bidding on lump sum turnkey construction projects. Secondly, as an engineering firm, we have decided to focus on what we do best, growing where we are strongest and most differentiated, such as in our engineering services business line. In fact, this is not such a big change in our business as it might be perceived. SNC-Lavalin has been a provider of premier engineering solutions and has provided engineering services to help deliver complex construction projects for the last 100 years. And we will continue to have a significant presence in major projects such as P3s. We will simply approach them in a different way, by focusing on our worldwide expertise in project and construction management and engineering services. SNC-Lavalin is not out of construction. We will continue to play in the construction market. We'll concentrate our engineering efforts on project management, quality assurance and construction management to support the incredible pipeline of construction projects that we have here in Canada. Furthermore, we truly believe that our greatest asset is our employees. Canada has a unique workforce with great knowledge acquired at the international level for work on projects in this country. Canadian resources are amongst the best in the world to think, realise, build, operate and maintain the infrastructure of today and tomorrow. Therefore, we have a role to help mentor the next generations so that they too can continue to connect people, technology and data to meet future pressing challenges and drive results. I hope we can exchange on this important topic over the next few days. Likewise, for those who would like to hear more about our new position in the P3 market, I personally invite you to come to the companies leaving and expanding in the P3 market panel, for which I will be a panelist. I thank you for your attention and wish you an excellent conference filled with captivating discussions and insights. My team and I look forward to meeting and exchanging with you. Thank you and have a great conference. I'll now pass the floor back to Mr. Romoff.